Hello and welcome to another edition of the Daily Illini. I am Joshua Joins, joined by Avery Schaefer.
The Daily Illini?
Oh my goodness. The Rollin Illini, joined by Avery Schaefer, Ryan Wilson, and Miles Hill. We're so glad you could join us on this Friday evening. Once again, if you are looking for the Illini Drive, we're like the Illini Drive, but do adapted athletics. They will be back with you on Monday. So we hope you all had a good week. And on today's show, we're going to talk a lot about the Chicago Marathon. It's local. There are a lot of Illini that are participating in the marathon. And the person who knows the most about marathons is our very own Ryan Wilson. So, Ryan.
What?
Let's talk about the marathon.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, interesting. Chicago Marathon on Sunday. So, always fun to watch. If you can find it on television. So, of course, we have a lot of Illinois racers competing on Sunday morning, to be exact. I think one important storyline to take note is that we've talked about Tatiana McFadden before, actually a few times. 17-time Paralympian, no big deal. Miles, how many Paralympic medals do you have?
I have a smooth, 0. But yeah.
Okay, well, 2 years?
2 years? Maybe 4, but I'll be there.
Okay.
2020?
2020.
Okay, so Tatiana McFadden, she was in Berlin. Of course, on a practice run, her chair broke. The rim of her chair broke, and so she used a replacement chair, and she got close to last place and got a little bloody in that process. Now, Chicago Marathon's on Sunday, so the question is her chair fixed? Is it, Avery?
And the answer would be no.
Oh, man.
No.
Not exactly.
So what's she doing then?
So what is going to happen is this. She will use one of her coach's backup chairs, which is not a chair that she's used to, obviously, but it should allow viewers to see more about just how athletic she is.
Yeah, so her coach is Adam Blakeney. He's also a wheelchair racer, but I don't think he's competing anymore. He competed up until last year. He did some marathons. But, of course, he's always also competed in some Paralympic Games as a racer himself. He competed in Rio as a racer and as a coach. But so, of course, he has some spare chairs lying around and got a
Spare wheels.
Spare wheels, yes, just like we have right here. Actually, no, we don't. So, if you have some problems, Avery, I'm sorry with your chair. But so Adam is lending Tatiana her chair, or his chair, and of course, interesting to note, Amanda McRory, a good friend of the show. She's been on here a few times. She's won a few Paralympic medals, of course. She was not in Berlin. Strategic move. She's actually in Colorado, Colorado Springs. She's interning with the U.S. Olympic Committee. Not too shabby. She's out there until May. Out there until November. She started in May. And so she didn't do Berlin, but she's going to do Chicago, and it should be a struggle because she can't really practice in Colorado. The U.S. Training Center is not set up for wheelchair racers, and so as a result, she's stuck on rollers, and rollers are basically for bikes. And so she puts a racing chair on that, and she'll push away, which is great, but that is not the same as pushing on a road.
Sounds like she'll just have to roll with it.
Yeah, so she could push on the road out there, but Colorado Springs is downtown in a city. Kind of dangerous.
Just a little bit.
So, do we have a live read, Josh?
Do we have a live read? Of course we do have a live read. Today's episode of the Rollin Illini is brought to you by the University of Illinois Division of Intercollegiate Athletics. There's a lot of events going on. This weekend we're in New Jersey because for some reason there's a Big Ten team in New Jersey and Rutgers. We're hoping to get a W for the football team this weekend. It's a big game for us.
Here?
No, the game is in at Rutgers. Okay. But tomorrow here, there is an important match here as the Illinois volleyball team takes on cross-state rival private school Northwestern. Looking to bounce back after 2 losses against some really great teams this weekend. So there is a lot going on with the University of Illinois Division of Intercollegiate Athletics. Remember, you can still get your tickets for football and football and basketball. There's still a lot of football left and all the basketball left. You can get those tickets for $109 at fightingillini.com. So just remember, this is brought to you by the University of Illinois Division of Intercollegiate Athletics. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's how we do it.
Yeah. So off that note of DIA stuff, Illinois Athletics, Amanda McCrory, she's in Chicago with Tatiana McFadden, and is Adam going there? Is Adam going to Chicago?
Yeah, I think Adam Blakeney and their graduate assistant Joey is going as well.
Okay. So Joey Peters. And so as we are stuck in this tight little studio, we're probably going to transition to another segment about Chicago Marathon, in which we did have my phone in my hand, but it hit the ground. And so Josh joins, a producer man, did an interview, and some quite a routine around us. This is impressive. He's reaching in between my chair and Avery's. And now...
This is a circus act in addition to a radio show.
Yes. Now Miles climbed under the table. Quite a routine. Perfect 10 out of 10.
Cirque du Soleil worthy, guys?
Yeah. I don't even know why
so.
I'm on the radio. I'm really a gymnast.
And Josh, I'm going to pass the phone to him. Anyways, so Chicago Marathon, they're starting up a new mentorship program with the University of Illinois. So this is with wheelchair racers. And so what they're doing is they're pairing University of Illinois wheelchair racers who compete in Chicago with young, aspiring wheelchair racers. And so you're going to see some young kid paired up with Tatiana McFadden and kind of get, amazed by seeing Tatiana's muscles, maybe Miles' muscles someday.
We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
And so Josh did an interview with Jenna Fessmeyer, who is going to compete in Chicago, and we're just going to kind of hear her story on Chicago and the mentorship program. So here you go.
Brand new mentorship program that I wanted to talk a little about. So Jenna, welcome,
quiet.
and tell me a little bit about this mentorship program.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, so it's Chicago's inaugural year for the Chicago Marathon Elite Mentor Program. And so there are 5 of us Illinois athletes who are mentoring kids with disabilities in the Chicagoland area. And it's been a really good experience so far. And I think that our mentees are learning a lot, but us mentors are also learning a lot as we're going through this program. And so tomorrow morning we're doing a 5K with our mentees, which will be super, super fun to watch them spend time in the racing chairs in Chicago. And then on Sunday we're running the marathon and they'll be cheering us on. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Where's this 5K at?
The 5K is in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So when are you guys leaving?
We're leaving at 3 o'clock, so in an hour.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So how have you guys been training? So there's 15, correct? Or around 15 of you guys that are going to compete in this this marathon. How have you guys been training up to the lead up to this one?
Yeah, we've had a really great season for training. The weather hasn't been too bad. It hasn't been too hot, and we've been able to all work together and push each other towards our goals. So I'd say that it's been a pretty good start of the school year leading up to Chicago. So I'm really excited for this weekend to see how we all do.
Absolutely. Is this your first Chicago Marathon?
No, this is my 3rd Chicago.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the course. What's it like? What's challenging about it?
Yeah, it's a pretty flat course, but Chicago is famously known as the Windy City. So we're going to be expecting some nice wind throughout the marathon, but like I said, it's pretty flat, so that makes for a really exciting and fast race.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for this interview, and good luck.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
So once again, that was Jenna Fessmeyer. She is going to be competing in her 3rd Chicago Marathon, like she said. And that mentorship program is really interesting. It's something that was kind of the idea of Amanda McGrory, who we talked about earlier. She kind of spearheaded the idea. It's kids from around the ages of 10 to 15 years old. And Jenna really enjoys it. Anyone who knows Jenna knows that she's a very kind person and a very excited person. Mm-hmm. So I mean, if she was my mentor, that'd be incredible. So the fact that we're getting these athletes, as we've talked about in previous shows, as we get those athletes with elite level athletes, they're going to want to continue the sport for longer and to get to those levels. So it's really cool that they're doing that.
Yeah. So the purpose of the mentorship program. I spoke with Cindy Hamilton from the Chicago Marathon, and she said, there are some persons with disabilities impairments who are really young and just don't understand their full potential and understand, what they're capable of. Sometimes they just get a little too sheltered away. So this is an opportunity to meet an enterprising athlete and to see what they can do. So I'm kind of curious, Miles and Josh, you're athletes here, but what was it like, kind of being introduced to the sport? What was that beginning process like?
I remember when I started.
Closer to the mic.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when I started. Really, a big thing for me was just getting over the idea that everything's in the chair. You know what I'm saying? So it really put it into perspective that you gotta be able to use a chair, as I've been used to playing able-bodied sports. So moving on from that, once I got into it, I was hooked, and it was just like, dude, why have I waited so long to find out about this? Playing other players and meeting new elite level athletes, it was just beautiful, and I've always wanted to be a part of it. So really, I think that the mentorship program is great because it's going to put people with disabilities in positions to want to continue to drive in that sport.
Yes.
So I kind of got involved in a very similar way as Miles did. For those of you that are not watching on UPTV and are on the radio and obviously can't see us, Miles and I both walk all the time. We don't use everyday chairs all the time, but we both have disabilities. And so I don't know if this is true for Miles, but for me, it was kind of difficult making the transition of, I can't be an able-bodied athlete, but I can be an incredible adaptive athletics athlete. And so I got involved with a local program. Did North Carolina have local programs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so were you involved in one of those first?
Yeah.
So for about 2 years I was involved, and then very quickly became one of the best players in that and kind of got bored with it. But then I found an organization called Blaze Sports America that's in Atlanta, and they travel around the country in an AAU-style game. And that's where you really meet a lot of people that are mentoring you. We're part of the National Wheelchair Basketball Association. You meet adults who play the game. You meet incredible athletes that I still look up to this day that I'm playing against in the college division now. Yeah. So that, it kind of opened my eyes, like Miles said, to just the possibilities and the sport.
Interesting. So Miles, when you first were introduced to the sport, did you have any like role models with disabilities you really looked up to, or was it just you on your own running your own game?
Yeah, it was kind of me just kind of lone wolfing it. What happened really was that I wasn't even aware that I was allowed to play the adaptive athletics. Mm-hmm. So when I found out about it, I was like, I just want to play. That's what I was tired of sitting on the sideline. I was ready to play. Biggest guy in my life, probably Michael Atkins, NWBA Hall of Fame, quality dude.
Great dude.
He's hilarious. He's 3-point shooter, man. Great dude. He's been probably my role model the whole time, and that was my coach back then. But really, I didn't start getting to Paralympic level and looking into elite athletes until around 16, 17. So I haven't been really looking up to anybody, but Matt Scott is a big dude for me. I thought he was just crazy. Nike commercials, all that. He's really what you want to be when you think just a regular athlete, AB ball.
Is he from Wisconsin, Whitewater?
I'm not sure. Yeah, no, actually,
Matt Scott's Whitewater, yeah.
Yeah, Whitewater,
So you're an Illini, and look up to a Whitewater Warhawk.
Come on, you had 50 guys to choose from that go to Illinois.
Yeah, only 50.
Yeah,
only all of them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, it was a big deal for me. And like I said, that was really who I was just introduced to from my coaches. So I wasn't actually watching the game and seeing Matt Scott. It was my coach like, yo, you should do this. I didn't understand the concept. They pulled up a video, Matt Scott knew what he was doing. I didn't, but he did. And so that's how I learned a lot of stuff, and that's where I grew up at with him. But there are other players, of course, Patrick Anderson. We can go on a list of Illini greats, you know what I'm saying? Trumps Whitewater by far.
So the idea of copycat leagues still exists in adapted athletics. See, it's completely, or in some ways, the same thing as able-bodied athletics, but in other ways, it's completely different.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. It definitely started as a way for people with disabilities to play the sport, and that's how all adapted athletics are. Of course, they didn't come first, and of course, it has its similarities and its differences, but it's as similar as it will get. There's no way to make it more similar, I think, in any way. So, of course, there are rules in place that of course, you have to use a chair. That's the whole point of it. You know, that's the whole point of playing. It wouldn't be different if you weren't in a chair, and it wouldn't be different if everybody was at the same classification. So it's just a lot of different things like that. But I think it's as similar as it could possibly be.
Hey, Miles, here's a question I have for you, because this is something that I had very similar. Were you ever, like, ashamed to bring up that you played wheelchair athletics with your able-bodied friends?
Oh, no.
Really?
What? Oh, as soon as I started doing that, everybody knew. I made sure people knew about wheelchair basketball. Y'all had to know I was playing that.
Yeah.
You advertised it on a billboard in New York City.
I was getting shots in my day chair, falling on my back. I was making sure people knew I was a shooter. That's what it was.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
But it was a big change for me, though, because I did play AB ball a lot. I never played in AAU leagues or anything like that. But my brother, I have a twin brother, younger brother, and they were really good at AB ball. So I felt like, I got to play too. But I was trash. I was terrible. But I still played. So the transition was different. But I think the support from my family, from friends, when I did tell them about it, it kind of just pushed me even further. Like, now everybody's on my bandwagon. I got to keep going with it. So.
Yeah, so if you're used to playing able-bodied basketball, then what did you like about wheelchair basketball? What was it?
Well, let me tell you, the first time I ever played wheelchair basketball was against my boy Joshua Joynes, right?
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Full circle. So this is what happened. My dad and I coming to the gym. I had not been to a single practice before I started. So this is my first time playing. And my dad and I think we're all good. It's going to be even Steven. All games going to be close because we had no clue what we were looking for. I come in. Beat us like 56-9. It was so bad. I was ready to quit, man. I was so pissed. But I knew I couldn't give up then. It was my first time playing, and I knew that they were number one team in the country, won the national championship,
So did you eventually get revenge?
Nah, no one ever beat
You
Josh.
never beat Josh.
No. So,
You just joined his team instead.
We have to fix that.
I just hopped on with him. I was like, I can't beat him, join him. I'm feeling like Kevin Durant.
the conference kind of hated us. It was fine.
Yeah, it was
okay.
a lot of NWA stories. We can't get into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but it was really incredible. I didn't know that I played you for the first time. That's pretty incredible. But
was it.
watching Miles and I kind of, we saw each other every year. Like we became really good friends, like on the court, and when we saw each other at tournaments, and just watching how he grew as an athlete was absolutely incredible. So when like we finally found out that Miles was coming to the U of I was super excited to get to know him better, and now I'm glad that he's on the show. So things work out and things do come full circle.
Exactly.
Look at that.
Yeah. All right.
Chemistry.
Yeah. So I know that you want to get into why we came to the U of I.
I do.
Yeah. But do you mind if we take a break first?
Go for it.
All right, awesome. We'll be right back on WPGU 107.1 after the break. All right, welcome back to the Rollin Illini on WPGU 107.1 Champaign-Urbana. We are glad to have you. And we're going to get right back into Ryan grilling Miles and I. For those of you who don't know, Miles and I are on the wheelchair basketball team here at the University of Illinois. You probably didn't know we had a wheelchair basketball team, but we do. And so Ryan wants to ask us some questions about that since this is Miles' first week on the show. So take it away, Ryan.
So we're interrogating Miles again.
Interrogating.
That's a good word.
Try interviewing.
So this is obviously the first week for the main man, Miles Hill.
Hey,
Joined us.
what about me?
You've been here for 5 weeks now.
Yeah, this
I'm
is
not even a student, bro. I just show up
This is
every
fun.
now and
He's
then.
here so he doesn't get fined. That's what he's saying.
Anyway, so if you're watching this on Urbana Public Television or listening as you're driving, you're not hearing one voice, and that's Zaid Jawad. Zaid is extremely intelligent, of course, and he is focusing on academics right now, but he's still contributing to the show on the side, so he's going to help us out with some business masterminding.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Whatever that is.
on the subject of Zaid was really fantastic about all of it, and was really passionate about getting to know the show, getting to know a new sport that he didn't know about. And so I really appreciate all the time and effort he did for these first couple weeks, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he contributes from here on out.
Yeah, so Zaid came in here, gave us some great ideas and perspectives, and then we introduced Miles. Now,
Can I take credit for him?
whatever you want, he's on your team.
Yeah. As soon as that spot came open, I was like, I know a guy.
Okay, well, so we got 2 wheelchair basketball players in here, and then we have Avery and me, and it's like, oh, okay.
That makes it a party.
This is not fair, but whatever. Anyway, so Miles, new guy, we'll introduce him. We kind of already have. Miles, why did you come to the U of I? Like what brought you here? I think it was Avery. I really do.
Well, I took a look at one photo of Avery, and I was like, man, if everybody at the University of Illinois looks like this, I'm here for it. 5 years, 5 years at least. No,
Which is my good son.
I decided to come up here for the adaptive athletics. That was the biggest thing. I applied to Duke and UNC also. But at the end of the day, I couldn't stop playing wheelchair basketball and doing adaptive athletics. So that I just followed my heart, came up here, and now I'm here for 4 years plus.
So fun backstory with that. Coach likes to keep us updated on recruits when they're coming in. And last year I was a freshman here. Miles is obviously a freshman. And so Coach was giving us updates on what was going on with Miles. And he's like, yeah, he's waiting to hear back from UNC and Duke. And we're like, ooh, that would have been a tough decision for us. So we're really glad that he came and continued playing wheelchair basketball because he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, so
Appreciate you.
they don't have wheelchair basketball teams at Duke or UNC.
So they're working on a club program at UNC.
Really?
So, yeah, there were a couple opportunities for me there to start a program, but they were very distant opportunities, and I have 4 years of eligibility that I need to take.
Or is it 5?
5 years of eligibility actually, and I need to take use of them. So I'll be here for a couple years, and then I might go back, start something new, bring it into the mix. But
Breaking news.
I couldn't use up my years of eligibility playing, working on something, starting something up. Where there are people in North Carolina still working on that too. So the organization I came from are still working on that. So with that being said, Illinois was the obvious choice for me after
Interesting.
couple of weeks of deciding.
Yeah, so coming from North Carolina, what's that like? There are a lot of mountains over there. It's a great place. I've been there 2 times.
Yeah.
I know exactly 2 times. But now you're in Illinois. Nothing's here except the U of I. What's that like for you? Is it challenging to be, 8 hours away from the family?
We're pushing about 10.
Oh,
really.
okay.
But
Yeah.
it's tough. But I know, man, coming up here, it's different. Just like on a simple geographical standpoint. Like I got off the plane and I could see ORD from Champagne's airport. That's how flat it is. So no, I enjoy it. First of all, it makes it very easy for walking everywhere because there's no hills. UNC, they have a lot of historical parts and they can't fix any of it because it's naturally historic. So like they're just cobblestone bricks and everybody trips. So
Sure.
it's it's much more accessible here at U of I. So I enjoy that. But in terms of a family standpoint, it's hard. I do miss them a lot. But I know Josh from Atlanta. There's everybody on the team here from all over the place. So I knew if they could do it, then I'd be fine too.
Yeah.
I think on the men's team, of the 11 guys on the men's team, only 2 are from the state of Illinois right now.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, Josh,
Yes,
you're from Atlanta.
I am.
Why did you come here? I really think it was video man Andrew Scalaris. I really do.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Andrew hit me up. Was like, I'm there. No, I mean, I came here for a lot of reasons. My grandfather came here. Both of my parents went to the University of Georgia, but my grandfather came here. And then I had a relationship with Coach Bushy from a really young age. Actually, before he came here, was trying to continue a program at Oklahoma State University. So the first time I talked to Coach Bushy, he was wearing a different color of orange. And we really hit it off from there, and I came to Illinois camp every summer. And for me, I mean, basketball is great and it's important to me, but so are academics, because at some point your athletic career is going to end no matter how great you are. And it's even earlier for wheelchair basketball usually. So then it was like, I need to get a degree from a place where it's going to count. And the University of Illinois just checked off that box for me.
Wait, so if we back up a little bit, Bushy wearing a different color, how did that program go? You said he was trying to start it?
So he was trying to continue it. They were trying to run it as a club team. It just wasn't going to work out. And then Coach Frogley, who was here forever, left. And Coach Bushy's an alumni from here. And he's like, that's an opportunity I can't give up. And so he applied for the job and got it.
Interesting.
That's a big one too, in terms of just the availability of adapted athletics. We see able-bodied athletics everywhere, but the amount of teams in the collegiate division and even in the recreational area in terms of high school it's more spread out. I had to play with a team when I was in North Carolina. It was about 2 hours away, so the availability of the teams is really a big thing. So of course we would want Oklahoma State to have a program. We want more programs, but unfortunately that's not how that went. But we love Bushy.
Here's a question I have for you, Miles, and kind of relation to that, because we're both from the South. And I'll ask you a personal question
North
later.
Carolina's in the South, though North is in the name.
Yeah, it definitely
Strange.
is.
Virginia's in the South too.
Yeah, so there's teams at Alabama and Auburn, and then Clemson's trying to start a team. UNC's starting a club team. Do you think there's too many teams in the South?
I think that there are not enough teams in the country. So if there are too many teams in the South, then that means there are too many teams in the country, which is not the case. So
Okay,
I
that's fair.
think another thing, though, it would be nicer to have more spread out teams, because I know there are a lot of players. Seattle area, the West Coast does not have anything except for Arizona, really, and Arizona is not collegiate. They're Division I and WBA, so I think that it would be great if we had spread out. But if the South is what wants to take initiative, I'm not going to tell you, like, yo, chill out, let the North take this.
I think it's important to note on that note is that Eastern Washington University and San Diego State University are trying to start programs. So we'll see if they can get those off the ground. If San Diego State needs any help after I graduate, I would be glad to help them.
I'm on the
There you go. You got
I'm on the
it.
plane then.
So, devil's advocate here.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy.
Let me
Get ready.
loosen the shoulders.
It's my role on the show. I know you guys love it. Anyway, why the South? Do you think there's something culturally about the southern region? The fact that they emphasize hospitality and acceptance, I'll say, perhaps more than other regions of the country, for why it started there?
I wouldn't go that far. I think, especially for the two teams in Alabama, it really comes down to the Lakeshore Foundation being there. The Lakeshore Foundation is a training facility for a lot of different Paralympic sports, and they have helped promoted those two programs from starting. Auburn took a long time to get off the ground. They're finally collegiate. That's exciting. One of my best friends is there right now. So we wish, obviously, except when we play them, we wish every team the best of luck. But I don't think it has anything to do with hospitality. I just think it has to do with having the right people at the right place at the right time. Like Michigan's in the very early stages of starting a team, and that's just because they finally got a person at the right places at the right time. So, it's really luck when it comes down to having a successful wheelchair basketball program started at your university.
Yeah.
That's definitely the truth. It's solely on opportunity, I think. You have to have someone that's advocating, that has the time to advocate for that. There are a lot of, like we said, we have a lot of junior teams, and not everybody on the junior teams can advocate for that. So people from my organization are working at UNC and Duke and NC State, and they're pushing that. But not every region in the country is able to do that. And I think that's the biggest thing, is you have to have someone to keep someone accountable and try to push it and continue to make it happen until it finally does.
Whoa. Fascinating.
Deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're talking about wheelchair basketball, of course. There's a storied history of wheelchair basketball here dating back to 1940s-ish. Not when I was here, but with Tim Nugent and obviously starting up a program for World War II veterans. They did all sorts of sports, even wheelchair archery and football and all these fun games. Yeah, Miles, there's a questionable noise in the studio. I don't think you can catch that on the radio, but maybe UPTV will offer you the pleasure of hearing a hose sound in here. Anyways, so Tim Nugent obviously started up a big program here, and it's obviously still going on, bringing players, athletes all around the world to compete on the stage here. But if we take a step back, but Avery, you're not on the wheelchair basketball team, but what brought you here?
What brought me to the show?
Well, to the
the
University
U
of
of
Illinois.
Okay. 2 reasons. I wanted a place that had more than 600 students in it, where everyone knew me. I was a bit tired of that, so I figured 44,000 was a... I'm not good at math, but that's a lot more than 600.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, I wanted to be able to live alone and live the quote-unquote college life. And I couldn't do that without a program like Beckwith. For those of you who don't know, the U of I is nationally known for having a special set of dorms with lifts in them that allow me and people like me to live in dorms alone without our parents' assistance, which is fabulous to say the least.
It's huge.
Liberating.
Not too bad, and I can certainly relate to you, Avery. I am an alumnus, so I'm done with this university.
Are you really?
Well, you know, I might be coming back, as I told you a few minutes before the show. Not for grad school, though. I'm done with homework. I came here for the Beckwith program. Like he said, it's a program in a dorm that offers assistance for people in wheelchairs who have physical impairments. And so I got assistance there. I moved out, and I've always been a fan of the wheelchair basketball program. And I didn't play. I blame Bushy for that. Or my power chair, one of the two. So yeah, I came here just for the accessibility. I'm sure you guys will get into this later on in the year. UVI has a really good accessible campus. And it's a lot of diversity here, and it's a good place for anybody to get a start in living independently and also excel academically.
I think that's something that, going back to Tim Nugent starting the program in the 1940s, is something really important to note. A lot of universities start adaptive athletic programs. Very few are successful in integrating people with disabilities into the entire campus culture. And that's really what we do here at the U of I, is we kind of get people with disabilities of all abilities involved in university life. We are the #1 most accessible campus in the country. Flatness sure helps with that, but every building on campus is wheelchair accessible. That can be, and so the university with Tim's pushing, did a great job of making sure that all people with disabilities would have an opportunity to get higher education, and that's what I think makes the University of Illinois different than other programs that are trying to start adaptive athletic programs.
See, cornfields do have a function. They're flat.
You know, I live between 2 cornfields, Avery, and I question their purpose sometimes, too. So it's okay. I just see a bunch of corn or soybeans.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so...
Okay, so do you mind if I ask Miles one more question?
What?
Of course.
One more. All right, Miles.
Seriously.
There's only one correct answer to this question.
Oh boy.
What is the best fast food restaurant in the country?
Oh my gosh.
There is only one correct answer, and people who listen to the show on a weekly basis will know the correct answer.
Josh
Do,
rejoins.
do not
Yeah.
say
Shh,
Chick-fil-A.
shh.
I will have to answer Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. Yes, that is.
I said do not say Chick-fil-A.
You don't understand.
Yeah, you. Miles.
It is a culture in the South.
Yeah. Hey, if any listener wants to meet me and Miles, you will see us at the front of the line when Chick-fil-A opens here in Champaign. So come out and visit us on the grand opening there.
You know, Chick-fil-A is not a sponsor of Rollin Illini, but they should be.
It should be.
Sometimes you don't need them to sponsor you for it to be, on the radio and said out loud. If you just make good food, I will support you.
Okay, so what's so good about Chick-fil-A then?
Oh, where do we begin? Miles?
Let me express to you my dedication to such a beautiful organization. First of all, I'm going to proclaim this. This may be a very conflicted topic, but I think that the grilled nuggets are the best thing on the menu.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
What I will say, though, is don't try them. Because then you will never get anything else, and they're one of the most expensive things on the menu. So just take it from me.
Okay.
That's all I have to say, Josh. That's it.
Yeah, no. Chick-fil-A breakfast is unmatched. They have these things called chicken minis. And, like, the thing about Chick-fil-A is they're closed on Sunday, and you always seem to want Chick-fil-A on Sunday. But also, like, you want breakfast, but breakfast ends at 10:30. So in the summer, the only reason I got up before 10:30 was so I could make it to Chick-fil-A for breakfast. So yeah, that's kind of incredible. All right, now on a more serious question, what is the one thing you miss most about your hometown and being in North Carolina?
Chick-fil-A.
I actually lived about a 5-minute walk from Chick-fil-A, so it's pretty bad. No, Chick-fil-A is not my number one. It's up there though. I can say top 10 maybe. I think I really miss my family. My pops is a big inspiration in my life. Did a lot for me on the way up. My mother too. Definitely though, family has got to be number one. I miss them so much every day. I think I call them too often, which is usually the
Usually the
first
opposite.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get your parents calling like, "Yo, I'm trying to do homework." But, I think I miss them a lot, but that's got to be number one by far. Then the friends were pretty cool. They were cool people. I miss the food though. Cookout, Bojangles. Oh, y'all missing out. The Midwest is missing out.
For
Culver's
sure,
has
on the
nothing.
food line. Yeah.
Culver's is nothing.
And then what has been like the easiest and the hardest part of transitioning here at the U of I?
I think the easiest part is having people on the team. It made it very easy to kind of just start talking to people, making relationships with friends, and then knowing where you were trying to go. Like this campus is actually very spread out, and I never took a tour. I just they were like, "Yo, come hoop." I was like, "Okay, sure, why not?" So I never took a tour, but coming in, just talking to all the people on the team was great. And then the hardest part, I'll have to say, is getting up at 5:30 for practice. This is no joke, man. No joke.
So you took a shot in the dark, basically.
A shot in the dark. That's
We take a
definitely
shot in the dark every morning because the sun's not up yet.
the whole practice. When we come out, it's still dark.
No, I think that's something that I didn't talk about when we talked about why I came to U of I, but there's really a family atmosphere here.
Oh, yeah.
Miles and I have great chemistry, but this would be the same way if you put any other teammate in front of me. We're all really like each other a lot and hang out with. We have these things called mandated mandates, which are when you have to go out and learn something new about a teammate at dinner or something. But only the first one or two are like that. The rest of the time, it's like, hey, let's go out to eat. And then you're like, oh, my goodness, this counts as a mandate. Like, we really want to get to know each other and spend a lot of time with each other. And so it's a cool atmosphere that you don't get a lot of other teams.
Who enforced that?
We did as a team. It was kind of one of our goals. And it's been really beneficial to get to know each other.
It really is. It's
sure.
huge.
I believe that. Is that a new thing?
We started it last year.
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty new. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Started
well,
last year.
we're going to take one more break. And then we'll be right back for our last big thing for the week. You're listening to WPGU 107.1 and the Rollin Illini. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the last segment of today's show, The Last Big Thing.
On WPGU 107.1.
So, this week, my last big thing is actually something I mentioned on the show before. That I'm interning at a bilingual school, the International Prep Academy, for which I get to work with adorable second grade children
Aw.
and teach them various things. One of the episodes from this past week somehow involved me explaining my interest in sports, which led to people wanting me to demonstrate the proper way to shoot a basketball. Now, considering that I can't reach an 8-foot hoop, and they don't have a 4-foot hoop in the school, it didn't go very well. But the effort was there. So, I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back for that.
Effort, that's all that matters.
All right, Ryan, what's your last big thing
Oh
for
yeah,
this
so
week?
this last whatever thing, just a segment in which we talk about whatever's on our mind.
Whatever's on our mind.
The last thing of the show. So I don't typically talk about Dancing with the Stars on the show.
Oh, this is a good one.
So maybe I should be a dancer.
Maybe.
I know, Josh, I was talking about you on a Facebook.
Considering? Are you considering dancing?
Ryan, I would love to be your dance partner.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'm considering Dancing with the Stars or dancing in general. Anyways, on this year's Dancing with the Stars was Paralympic visually impaired alpine skier Danielle Umstead. I got to interact with her through my work with the International Paralympic Committee. A great, fantastic person. She was eliminated on Tuesday. Her performance just did not match up with the other people's, but regardless, I think it was quite phenomenal for her to be on the show and to, just put herself on the line with a lack of ability to see. So that's my 2
She
minutes.
can't see.
Nope.
So is she relying on vibrations in the floor?
Well, I think the big word is trust, and her partner would kind of demonstrate on her hand with his finger, where the routine goes, and all of that. So he would,
That's incredible.
yeah. So they would just kind of go off of each other with that.
Yeah.
So Miles, top that.
I don't know if I could top that. That was quality thing to you can't get over. I think this week I had a quality friend back from North Carolina come up. I've been hanging out a little bit today, hang out a little bit later tonight. I'm not going to disclose his purpose, but he's here. That's my boy. I'm not going to throw the name out there. We're just going to call him KS. That's my boy. So, boy from my U team back in the NWBA, we're getting live tonight. That's my boy. So, I can't get over that. I'm so happy he's here.
Yeah, absolutely. And my last big thing for this week is it's October 1st. It's spooky season for most people.
October 1st.
Or it's October. October's finally here. Wake me up in September, and I'm woken up, and the regular season for wheelchair basketball has began.
Sir.
So
Begun, not began.
yeah. So
Potato,
this is
potato.
this is the first time that we've been able to see fully as a team what a 2-hour practice would look like, and it's been a challenging week physically, but this team is incredible. It's really promising, and I'm so excited to see where we grow between now and November for our first tournament. So that's my last big thing for this week. Does anyone have anything else they would like to bring up before we close the show this week?
Well, I think we should end with Andrew Scaleras talking on air. No? You want to do it?
Sure, why not?
Whoa! Andrew's going to be on air. This
Got the mic
is...
here.
Let's go. Wait, no. I want to do the camera.
Oh, I got you here. I'm
Oh,
getting
you
out the
got
way.
it?
No, I don't got the camera. You got it.
I got the camera.
I'm out the way. I'm out the way.
Ah, so Andrew's you gonna go in Miles' spot then?
Yeah.
Maybe. What are you doing, Josh? We're just all moving around here. I don't know what Josh is doing, but Andrew, who's normally behind the camera, is now getting on the radio in front of a mic now. Andrew, this is your radio debut on Rollin Illini. Welcome in.
What's going on?
Well, I'm currently a student at Parkland. I'll be graduating in December. Will be receiving my certificate in media arts production, and that'll add to my associate's degree that I got back in 2014. And I've been actually filming this show. I started filming it last year, and this is my second year here. And all these guys are a bunch of great guys.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. So how long, last question, have you been with Urbana Public Television?
I've been here for over a year, almost 18 months. Would have been. I started in around January or February of last year, and I've been there ever since.
All right. Hey, Andrew, thank you so much for your work. We really appreciate your time and commitment to this show. Glad to have you on hand, and I think our show has to close for the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for letting me be the camera. All right, so for Andrew Scalera at UPTV, myself, Miles Hill, Avery Schaefer, and Ryan Wilson, this has been Rollin Illini on WPGU 107.1. We hope you have a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you again next week.